How is everyone?
Everything is good on
Good,
my
with
side.
a lot of work, ready for the weekend? Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Almost. I hope almost. Okay, so we're going to wait just a few minutes for the other colleagues to join, and then we're going to start. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to start with a quick recap. And while we do this recap, we're going to wait for, we hope the others can join the call. But we're going to start in order to try to finish on time. Um, okay, so welcome everyone to the third day of training. Um, Welcome to the last day. Thank you once again for your attention, for your time, and for your effort on this training. I wanted to highlight from our end that this, as Saida was explaining since day one, that this program is not part of our core programs from Aflatun. This is a supplement. So remember that it is not mandatory for you to implement this program. If you find the need to do so, then for sure you can do it and you can count with our support. But for all of you to know that this is not mandatory. This is not core, right? Core curricula. Um, Okay, so if you can, I would appreciate if you can turn on your cameras for us to see each other and to make it yeah even online to have this connection. Okay, so today we're going to start with a quick recap. Remember that yesterday we were as a homework we mentioned the infographics, and I asked you to go through the sessions that we discussed yesterday, identify one and read one of the infographics in order to identify something that's still not clear about it. Um, so I'm going to open here the floor for all of you to share very briefly in a concrete way what session that you selected and for you to share the point. So I'm going to open the floor. I don't know who wants to start. Who would like to start? Don't rush.
Okay, I can start.
Go ahead, Anna.
Okay. I reviewed the session 4, how to use cryptocurrencies. And in a QR code shows the exercise which we've done the first day in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the steps, step by step, clarified the way how we transfer funds, cryptocurrency, and how we create and open the crypto wallet, how we choose the exchange rate, decided which cryptocurrency, and then the second step before transferring, to be sure that we are using the correct address, correct
Mm-hmm.
algorithm, and then that we have a correct recipient's address, and after transaction, there, Marat, your question is to me. Okay. And so the whole transaction steps, which is very clear,
Mm-hmm.
Regarding you using mandatory of using during Aflatun trainings, since mostly I'm provided uh, life skills and employability trainings for youngsters, I'm thinking that in a financial literacy session, I will use it and talk very short, of course, not 3 days and not the whole day, but it can be part of financial literacy when we are talking about money, about saving exercises, and a little bit information can be about cryptocurrency. Uh, and I think a youngster will be very interested. That's it. No any question because it was very clear organogram, diagram about all the steps.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. And I understand that, as you said, you don't have any particular question related to this topic. Okay, and you're already starting to think how to implement these topics with the programs that you already have, right? Thank you, Anna, for sharing. Okay, who else would like to share?
I can share if you want.
Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, yeah, one more time. Hello to everyone. I have choose the session 8, safe cryptocurrency adoption, also because it's for me to be safe is the one of the most points you need to like go deep before using it. And also yesterday we didn't talk. I found it in the booklet with the QR. It's also very good written there that you need to be uh, afraid of, like there is a lot of giveaways there, like in marketing, that you are just registering and you are receiving some amount of cryptocurrency. It's mm, by the way, it's in 99%, it's like scam. It's phishing attacks also happening there, and it can be also, it's like mentioned, fake job. Yeah, and one of the most vulnerability point is this pump and dump also, because it can, like yesterday our expert says about Trump and Melania coin. Yeah, it's hype at that moment. Its price is going up and up, and like 10 seconds after it can go to the lowest points. Yeah, like this. You need to be afraid of all of these things, and if you want to invest, you need to do a research little bit deeper in which systems is used. Does the big companies using these blockchains? Yeah, you need to go deep into the ecosystem, the blockchain or the cryptocurrency. That's my point.
Thank you, Marat. And thank you, yes, to highlight like this session that you selected has an exercise in order to identify the different type of scams, right? Because sometimes we do identify some particular ones, but there are others that can get confused. So it is really important for the for all of us, but especially for the young learners to be aware of this. Um, any question, Marat, in relation to this topic?
No, no.
No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay. Anyone else who would like
May
to
I
share?
continue?
Yeah, for sure.
I choose the section, I don't remember what is number, the main impacts of cryptocurrency to the finance landscape. Uh, the main topic, what about we have discussed already. The topics is main, we already have discussed about these topics, but when I thought about some new things, I think because of I every time thinking about cryptocurrency as an opportunity, I find out idea that cryptocurrency can help the country which is under uh, sanction. It is some difficult, some terrible, but there were opportunity. For example, they can invest cryptocurrency in their economy in the country, because if country separate from central bank system, cryptocurrency giving opportunity to organize transfers, and they can invite this to their economy. But it's have the big risks, because as Marat mentions, crypto can pump and dump, and it is giving some risk for that. Another topics the same about that we already have discussed. There is no some news, but about your methods, it is very good. I already have some acquaintance with him, and for beginners, for youngsters, it will be work.
Thank you, Tatul. Thank you very much for sharing. And yeah, as you said, I mean, I don't want to be repetitive because we have been saying it, but it's interesting how you're right now putting it as okay, cryptocurrency, it's an opportunity, but it can also have associated risks also, right, in the political scale, economical scale. And we need to, like from our end, from Aflatun, we always highlight to make sure it's legal in your country before you start doing a program on it. And mainly because we're working with education, right? But from the user side, as Mutembe was explaining yesterday, there are no locks in order to use it, right? Mainly because it is decentralized. But since we're talking about education here, it is really important to be cautious about it and make sure that we're informed about the regulations on its application in our country. Um, Thank you, Tatul. And also, so you have the program. You remember that you also have the videos. After the training, I will also share the frequently asked question sheets for all of you to have it. Um, and the training manual, I also shared it on day one, but I will also say then I will share it after this training for you to have like the manual of activities and exercises in case you need to train other teachers or facilitators or other team members on this. So for you to be fully equipped with everything you need. Thank you, Tatul, for going through it. Okay, who else would like to share? Is
It's
there anyone
Friday. It's
else who would
Friday.
like to
Everyone
share a
wants to
bit about
finish
their... Yeah,
earlier.
go ahead.
It's Friday. Everyone wants to finish
I
earlier.
that that's what I am understanding. Yes, we're going to try to finish earlier. I promise from my end. Thank you, Marat. But I don't know. Yeah, Marta, Herbis, Mariam, Elnas. If you would like to share, for the ones that joined at the end, what we're doing is we're doing a recap of the homework from yesterday. Everyone is sharing, yeah, the poster that they read it and the main points, and if they have any question on it. Ervis, would you like to share?
No, I had the same. I read the same session as that tool. It's number 5. So I don't know if that is more interesting for you to share.
For,
Uh,
go ahead.
I
Do
mean,
you?
the impact of cryptocurrency on the financial landscape.
Mhm.
I was curious about that because I am an accountant, and the first impact was no need for banks. Uh, Direct peer-to-peer payments, all transactions are public. I also included some risk on that, so lack of privacy, exposure to scams. Another impact is on the economic. Another one is the economic impact, value driven by supply and demand. the prices change quickly, and risks on that is that investors can lose money suddenly. Another good impact is like global fundraising. You can raise money from different sources, and it's borderless. It's 24-hour to 7 transactions. Anyone can donate from anywhere. A potential risk on that is used for illegal fundraising or fraud. Uh, Another impact is the financial inclusion, access to those without banks or IDs, uh, supports migrants, refugees, and undeserved groups. It doesn't ask you for documentation, for proofs, for legal documents. So this is something which might be good for migrants or refugees. Another risk on this is no consumer protection if funds are lost. So this is what I was.
Thank you, Ervis. And it's really interesting that all of the points that, not all, but most of them that are positive or an advantage, they can also have a disadvantage, right? It depends, again, as we were saying yesterday, on its usage and the importance of being informed about the complete picture of this new technology. Thank you, Ervis, for sharing. Anyone else who would like to share? Or we can move to the next activity. I don't know if,
I
yes,
can,
Mariam,
yeah.
go
Hello,
ahead.
sorry for late. I had some issues with internet, but I to be honest, I have hadn't didn't a lot of time today to just go deeply. But what I was reading, for me, it was interesting to the session 6. What are, for example, benefits of the crypto? Why it's good? Yeah, that's you can do the transactions like anytime. There is no limits. It's secure and safe. And yeah, others also. And especially there was this session. I'll see the cryptocurrencies or fiat currency, where you can see the differences between these two, and it's good to see what are the differences, why crypto is good or why fiat is good, and you can decide, for example, yeah, and analyze it and see what benefits each of them have. Yeah, and
Thank you, Mariam, for joining. And yes, as you already mentioned, it is really important, as we did on day one, to understand the evolution of money, like the main features of fiat money, and that will allow us to understand cryptocurrency, right? Because the functions of money are the same, but in the system where it works is completely different, right? But it's important to have this background. Thank you, Mariam, and I'm glad you were able to join. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if there is no one else, you know that I love energizers. So we're going to do a quick energizer because I know it's the last day of the week. Some of us are a bit tired from the week, and or maybe some of us are already thinking on the weekend on how to rest and disconnect. So I'm going to open the floor here. I don't know if anyone would like to practice an energizer in this online setting
I have
or,
idea.
oh, yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Mariam.
So we are doing it with use on the physical, but we can do it also here. It's called, I think you know, the wind blows to the person, for example, who loves, I don't know, watching the movies, or just like the band, the singer Weekend, or I don't know, and who likes, for example, movies, can react by reacting the
Oh,
heart.
Mariam, we lost you on the last part. Could you repeat
Wait,
that, please?
yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. So we have, if I will say the wind blows to the person who likes watching animes, for example, that person who loves it should react by the heart, like this. Yeah. And then if someone is not reacting, for example, without hurt, can continue and say another thing, for example, which connected actually to that person. If I love anime, I will say, and I will ask. If I don't like, for example, animes, I could not say the one close to the person who likes anime. So it should be connected with me also. Yeah. If it's clear.
Okay, noted. Let's try it out. Well,
Yeah.
I don't
So
know. For the rest, is it clear?
Mm,
Not that
okay, so
much.
basically, I'm gonna come in, Mariam. Ready? So she's gonna start. She's gonna start with the statement that the wind blows to someone who likes pears. Yeah? And then if you resonate with this sentence, then you react by a heart. You send a heart. There you go, as she's doing. So perhaps I think Mariam, one person can do two statements, three statements, right? And then you can give the floor
yeah.
to the next person, and that person continues. We good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Mariam, the floor is yours. Go.
So yeah, I'll start. The one blows to the person who likes. Okay, I will say The Weekend. You know, the musician. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, a lot of us.
Yeah. Cool.
I
Then
thought the question was who likes the weekend. So-
it could be understood like this also.
And not the
Sorry.
group.
Yeah.
Marta is already thinking on the weekend.
Yeah. Erwis or Mara did not react, I think, and they can say their statements now, like if you want.
I'm so sorry. I want to react, but it's already working process ongoing. I'm typing for coworkers something to do. Sorry for, yeah, I'm
Okay.
reacting with big heart.
Thank you,
Okay.
Marat. Erbis, would you like to try it? Just one round, and then we go back.
It's not that I really got it, but I'm gonna try. The winds go those to those who likes football, for example.
Good.
Anna and I are like very serious, like, no, we won't be.
I'm a not football lover.
Again, what were you saying, Anna?
I'm not football lover, and as Marta, I understand who likes weekend because I'm not familiar with this music group. So, and almost thinking about weekend. Yeah.
Thank you, Iris. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, so thank you all. I know it's the last day and we have other things going on, so let's try to do this time as efficient as possible. Really, from our end, we're going to try to be really concrete and finish earlier. But also, we would appreciate to have your participation in order to move forward. So, okay. So, just as a quick recap, we have been discussing the core topics of the program. I'm going to share my screen very quickly. So here, as you can you see the table of contents of the program?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have been discussing the main topics of this program, and it's important just to remember that, like from session 1 to session 10, we are addressing the main points related to cryptocurrency and blockchain. Actually, on session 9 and session 10, we're doing a sort of activities that will allow us to consolidate the learnings and continue connecting them, or for our young learners to continue this connection with what they already know, with what they have already understood, and so on. But from session 11 to session 13, we have what we call the advanced sessions. By advanced sessions, we mean the sessions that if you implement the program are not mandatory because they are more complex, um, and that continue a bit the topic in relation to cryptocurrency. But we are aware that they are more there, that they are even more technical. So it also depends on you to identify if it's needed in your audience. If not, you can stay with the core sessions from session 1 to session 10. But today we're going to go through this. Through these sessions to understand the concepts as trainers for us to understand them, and then and yeah and afterwards you can decide if it's needed or not in your organization. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do a quick group activity, where I'm going to divide you in three groups. I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay. So I'm going to divide you in groups of three, in three groups, I mean, and I'm going to assign one session to each. And the idea is that each team will read the assigned session and prepare a brief presentation for the rest of the group, covering the learning objectives. By this, explaining the learning objectives, what is aimed to be achieved, the new concepts introduced, how um, yeah, if we're talking about NFTs, what is an NFT? What's the meaning of it? Like to share the main ideas in relation to this new concept. Um, to mention the activities that are used throughout the session in order to achieve the learning objectives. And also to start thinking on your trainers and the challenges they may face when implementing this session. Okay. So these are the points that I'm going to ask you to discuss with your groups, within your team. We're going to allocate, let's say, 12 minutes for this. We're going to touch base, Aida and I, after 12 minutes to see if you need a few more minutes or if we can come back. Okay, is it clear what we're going to do right now? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Mariam, you were
sorry.
going to say something?
I was out from my room. Can you repeat,
Tatul,
please?
we lost you. Can you repeat it? We lost you.
I left from room. Can you repeat, please? No, Will, I both left from room. Can you repeat, please? What is
Can
our
I
task?
yeah, for sure. So as I said, I'm going to divide you in teams, and in the team,
Mhm.
you're going to read the assigned session and discuss these points that are enlisted in bullet points, because
Mhm.
after 12 minutes, we're going to come back to the main session, and one representative is going to share these points with the rest of the group. The learning objectives of the session, the concept that is being introduced, the description of the activities, and also like the challenges that trainers may face when implementing these topics, this session in particular. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Tatul. So I'm going to do the groups. Just give me a sec, and I'm going to tell you your session. Okay. So, let's see. Let me just. Okay. So in room one, meaning team one, we have Anna, Mariam, and Tatul. You're going to do session 11. Okay. Session 11, which is advanced DeFi. Okay. Session 11. Then on team two, Elnas and Marat, you're going to
Mhm.
do say that you're writing it down right through the chat. Thank you. You're going to do session 12, NFTs. A bit about what Martha was mentioning yesterday about the art and how you can put it in the blockchain, and how it works. So in room two. And team three, or room three, we have Urbis and Marta. Um, and you're going to have session 13, advanced blockchain applications beyond cryptocurrencies. Okay, I'm going to share through the chat the points that you should analyze. And these are the points. Do we have any questions about the activity? No? Sure? Okay, so I'm going to open the rooms, and after 12 minutes, we're going to touch base and see if a few more minutes are needed or if we can come back. Okay?
Let me go check room 3.
Okay, thank you, Saida. Elnas, are you there? Elnas, are you with us? So, okay.
Others.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just the differences between digital files and cryptos, and understanding the meaning of uniqueness and find out what makes something unique.
Mm-hmm.
And how to create some of these. We were just talking about how to create them. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Elnas. Okay, so what we're going to do is for you to share the conclusions. What were you able to discuss with your team? Okay. It doesn't matter if you were not able to cover all of the points. The important thing is to share what you were able to discuss,
Okay.
and from there, Mutembe will build up and explain further these new concepts. Okay, so who wants to start? I'm going to mention the session. Um, Okay, so maybe team 2 can start. Uh, Elnas Marat, can you
Yeah,
start?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I
Yeah,
will
Elnas
start.
will start and I will try. If there is some
Okay,
issues, I will
sure.
try to help. Yeah.
Sorry for my video because my network here is not stable. If I open my video, it is,
No worries, no
you
worries.
cannot hear me. Lesson 12 is about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. In this lesson, we're going to find out the new world, new concepts about how other usages of blockchains would be. And these non-fungible tokens, NFTs, are like some unique productions that children should find out how they are different from some digital files and some real files, real things that they are going to like touch them and work with them. So the first thing that we have to do in this lesson is to understand the differences between these fungible and non-fungible goods. Then we need to find out maybe like Murat said, we can start with a energizer, like having some examples and what make you unique. You can find in your appearance that what do you have that makes you unique, and then explain this for other things that what is the difference between some fungible goods like gold and like currencies that are fungible, and some non-fungible ones that like these NFTs. We can find like art, a piece of art that is unique and you cannot find it somewhere else. And these are when we are talking about in the field of blockchains, we're talking about digital ones. And then there is a process of creating the creation of these NFTs is called minting. We need to talk about it and talk about the advantages and disadvantages of these kind of products or concepts, or let's say new worlds. Yeah, this is what I find out here. Maybe Marat can complete.
No, I'm totally agreed. We discuss all this. Yeah. Yeah, like
How to most
summarize.
in the training. So the invoice is from
So,
the phone place.
Urbis, I think you had your
Okay.
mic on,
He's
So you
coming.
have to through
but
Yeah,
Marat, go.
yeah, just for overall summarizing, I write
if they have to give
the
the invoice.
oh, it's too noisy for okay. Yeah, like summarizing. First of all, understanding difference from digital files and cryptos, difference NFT understanding. Clear understanding of uniqueness of NFT. The third one, to show the platforms how to create and where they can use these NFTs, the games, arts, or the other meta, and the advantages and disadvantages also. And as Elna's mentioned, to do it more interactively, not to to get all the theory and not to show.
Thank you, Marat. Um, so as you can see, it gets more technical. This is more technical. NFTs are, in a sense, like these digital assets that work in the blockchain. But I'm going to give the floor to Mutembe for you to explain it further, Mutembe, in order for us to really understand how they work.
Okay. Let me share screen. Okay, so we're entering the world of decentralized finance, right? And I'm sure it's something you've probably heard, but essentially, when we start talking about things like smart contracts and decentralized finance, essentially what we are saying is that we are moving away from the world where all our financial transactions have been done by because human beings, we generally don't trust each other with money and a lot of valuable things. So over time, what we did is that because we weren't, able to trust each other when we were doing transactions, especially if you're doing a transaction with a stranger, with a friend sometimes or with a relative, you know the person, you know the where you can find them and the intentions. What we used to do for a long time is that we would eventually what happened is we ended up coming up with banks, lawyers, all these people were now people who we put in the middle of two people who are probably strangers so that they can be able to transact, right? So that you wouldn't be cheated. We say now, okay, in the past, you might go and then you might agree with someone that you want 5 goats, right? And then you go to pick them and there are only 3 goats. And they say, no, 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 but we said 5 goats, but they say, no, 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 no. I remember we said 3 goats, right? So who is right And who do you go to say that, the money that you are given? So what we started doing now is that either we'd get a lawyer or we get a bank, right? We say the person wants to buy 5 goats. So we go to the bank, we put money in the bank holds the money. And then when you get your 5 goats and the bank has agreed that, the agreement was for 5 goats, then you get your money, right? The same way now we're doing on e-commerce online. Once you pay for something, when you get it, when it's delivered and it's confirmed that it's delivered, that's why a lot of the people have to take a photo of what they've delivered. Then that's when the transaction goes. So escrows, right? So we had to come up with a lot of escrows, but that's because we didn't have trust. And so the whole idea is that the blockchain is helping people who don't trust each other to actually be able to do transactions. So anyone from anywhere in the world can be trusted to send money to someone else and that it will be sent, right? Now, when we start having conversations about what smart contracts are, smart contracts are now the things that enable us to do these transactions without having a middleman or an intermediary, right? So this is what they do. They're automatic pieces of code, right, that already have put in all the transactions that if this condition is met, right, if the person delivers the 5 goods and not 3 goods, then the money can be sent to the account, right? And then you verify the things that needed to have happened and then it happened. And all this is automatically done by code. There doesn't have to be any intermediary in between. And so that's how blockchains are completely transforming how creating trust in a trustless ecosystem. So for example, this is the example of how a smart contract works, right? Usually 2 parties identify the cooperation opportunity, whether it's they want to transfer a house to someone else, right? Whether they want to, transfer a car, different things. You agree, right? The initial agreement. Then you set the conditions. The smart contract, again, it's a piece of code, right? You see, it'll happen automatically when you get the car or you get the house, and then you put the business logic in it. So if this, then this, right? Then encryption happens, right? So this is where now you're putting secure messages between the parties, and then that nobody can change that contract ever once it has been done. And I was explaining to you about encryption. So encryption, I'll show you later on. It's, you have over 250 different characters, and only one source can be used to decode that particular encryption. Then you execute the process, the code is executed, the outcomes are memorialized. That means, okay, once these conditions are met, I have sold my house to this person. So let's say Maria is selling a house to Marat. Now, once they've agreed and the code has now been put in there, has been executed, no one can ever change it. The whole blockchain agrees because that contract is sent out to the blockchain, and then it updates all that entire block and then puts it as part of the chain, and all of them, there's an agreement. So no one can ever come and say that, oh, no, Marat didn't sell the house to Maria. He actually sold it to Ervis, right? And then the network has updated, and so everybody always knows this. And I know that's a lot, so I'll just show you another version of this, of how usually transactions are happening. So Tom wants to send money to Victor. They choose a blockchain, Ethereum, whichever stable coins. The transaction is recorded on the blockchain. Every party in the network, again, as I said, once you make a transaction, everybody is alerted. So Maria and Marat, let's say we have our own private blockchain here. They decide to sell a house. Maria decides to sell to Marat, every one of us, myself, Ervis, everybody gets to see that, oh, that transaction has happened. So nobody can be able to change it again without everyone agreeing again. So transaction is approved, the wallet is initialized, the money moves from um, Maria to Marat's wallet. Transaction happens, transaction has happened. Now we didn't have to have a bank in between. Because usually right now, these days, most legal processes for, they call it conveyancy, right? The selling land is you have to involve a lawyer, you have to involve a bank, because the bank will keep the title deed and keep the money so that, you know, someone doesn't cheat the other person and not pay once they get the house, right? You know, and the bank is the one which has all the details. So if one day someone is devious and goes and pays the bank to change that record, there's no other record of that, right? It has been changed. And this is happening a lot in land registries around the world, right? Where, you know, someone who has more money goes and asks them to, you know, bribes the bank official or bribes the person at the land registry or the land ministry. And you find that land that you had bought is no longer yours because the document has been changed and no one else, there was no other record, there was no public record of that. They just, all they need to do is go and edit. You know, it's like an Excel file. Someone just needed to go and edit it. But now with the blockchain, you cannot do that. First, it's encrypted, and two, the entire blockchain has to agree that that transaction has been changed. And most of the time, you won't agree because this is a lot of people, right? So, for example, the Ethereum blockchain, if you write anything on it, the Ethereum blockchain, like the computers that hold the ledgers, are all over the world. So you can't just change something, right? And so that's the whole idea about smart contracts and why they're so important in the blockchain. They are the ones who have smart contracts have transformed the whole idea of having to have. So imagine they're like the software that is a lawyer. So the way you have to go to a lawyer to write for you a contract and to say, oh, this is what the parties have agreed. They've agreed to do this. So a smart contract is almost like a program, a software, which is a lawyer and executes everything when the parties have agreed what they need to do. Right. So we are actually getting rid of a bank and a lawyer for most transactions. So you don't need someone to go and hold your money. It's there. Once everything is verified, everything is a software that does things automatically, and then people can continue interacting. Yeah. So up till there, I want to open up for questions because I know usually smart contracts can have quite a bit of questions, but happy to answer. I think this is the easier one to have a look at.
Mutembe, are there financial commissions for this process?
So it's part of the, what you remember what we were talking about, gas fees. Yesterday we talked about gas fees like commission or transaction costs. So that is what usually you will get because this is a transaction being done on the blockchain. That's what you will get as the transaction cost. But it's usually very, very, very low compared to what you would pay a lawyer.
Thank you.
Did you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Very clear.
Yeah. That's why it's very revolutionary because a lawyer will usually ask you to pay like thousands of euros to do their job and per hour, right? But this completely transforms all that. You don't need to pay anyone. You just pay that the gas fees for that transaction cost, and you're good.
So, Mutambe, do you think, do you know the examples of real situations or real, I don't know, companies, real governments who, or people only, I don't know, who use such smart contract?
Yes, they're used every day. Smart contracts are used every day for almost so even when someone is sending someone else a crypto or something, there's a smart contract being executed there. There's a lot of smart contracts being used in the supply chain today, right? There are big companies that are using blockchains for that. There are banks now, like some of the big banks in the world, like JP Morgan, like Chase, so people like big banks, Goldman Sachs, like a lot of these big institutions are actually using smart contracts for a lot of things these days. Right. And so you can, even for shipping, if you go and check DHL, they have use cases they're using for smart contracts, executing smart contracts. There are a lot of organizations that have private blockchains, because there's a public blockchain, and then you can now create a blockchain within the organization, so nobody in the organization can be corrupt and change things, right? So you can do that within the organization, right? So there's a lot of that also happening. You're having that's happening. So it's literally, there's blockchain being used in agriculture, right, for transferring money to farmers. So government, transferring subsidies to the farmers. There's also smart contracts being used for that, because the smart contracts knows exactly, some ministries of agriculture in some countries are usually corrupt. So they decide to use blockchain so that every farmer, it doesn't matter, whether you're connected to the politician or to the village chief, you get the money, right? It'll come to your phone. So I've seen use cases for agriculture being used. It clearly, all it does is the conditions being met. The smart contract is like, the program will pull in weather information. Was there a drought that year? Was there probably some pests that were there? And once all those conditions are met, it automatically sends crop insurance to the farmers, right? So there's that use case that's being used. So it's being used in multiple use cases these days, just to make the process a lot more efficient. And again, with software, remember we talked about the blockchain is literally a new super connected computer that is helping us to do processes a lot faster. Yeah. So this is some of the things that are being done. I know later we'll go deeper into DeFi, but yeah, I just wanted to give this analysis of smart contracts first. But please, questions, let's keep asking. And anybody who already has been working with smart contracts, please feel free to share anything. Yeah. So just think of smart contracts as self-executing, whatever a lawyer would have done for you of writing, oh, the parties decide this on this day and to do this when this is done, right? Imagine all that is a piece of software that immediately you don't need the lawyer. Immediately those conditions are met between any two parties that are interacting with that particular contract. It immediately executes like a piece of software. It's like these days you don't need the postman to send an email. Everything is being done automatically when you write an email, and it's using the protocols of email, and you send it. You don't need someone coming and you give them a letter to go and take it to another country. So it's that progression of the internet. So if you think about even for crypto, every time you send someone you agree to send someone crypto, that's a smart contract being executed, and it's uploaded onto the blockchain. The network updates it. it's happened. So smart contracts are a very key part of blockchains and how blockchains work.
Muthame, and a quick question. Can the conditions change depending on the blockchain, like the conditions for the smart contract, or how, like who sets the conditions, the system, like the related to like the blockchain technology, or it depends on, for example, what you already mentioned, that organizations can have their particular blockchain, so the smart contracts, like the conditions can be defined by the organization.
Yeah. So the blockchain is almost like the so lawyers have special paper they write on, or the lawyers have their federation, right? And so the conditions on the smart contracts are defined by the parties, right? They're defined by the parties. If we say that, the condition is we are selling a house, and it's only when I send you 50% of the house, that's when I can be able to view the house and things like those kind of conditions. It is the people who are involved in those transactions who come up with that, or the people who've come up with that particular use case within the platform. So for example, I know there's a company called Vilcaso, or they are now called Manifest. And so for them, their whole sort of use case in the blockchain, because there's a blockchain, there's Ethereum, there's Solana, that's the larger blockchain, right? There's Hyperledger, there's these different blockchains, right? And all of them, they're doing different things, almost like they're different countries with different laws, but it's the same idea of transparent, secure, speed. So all of them are using different technologies to make them very much faster and such. But the smart contracts are within that blockchain. There are people coming up with, okay, these are the set of the conditions that we want for our particular use case, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in cars being sold, whether it's in just me sending you some crypto, right? And then you're the one who like in this case, this manifest, they are using the Ethereum blockchain. And what they're doing there is they're building a use case for people to be able to invest in housing in the real estate space. So they create their own smart contracts saying that, hey, if someone wants to participate in this use case of the blockchain of in real estate, for them to have a transaction, we say that the smart contract has this condition, this condition, this condition for them to be able to have a transaction. So they're the ones who are setting. If you're the one who's actually coming up with a use case, you're the one who sets the conditions in the smart contract. And then people who want to come into that particular use case can transact there. If it's, for example, a hospital, right? A hospital is using the blockchain for patient information. And if any time like you go to the hospital, the conditions are in the smart contract. When you go for your triage, your registered information is taken. That's the time and date you are there, the medication you were given, the doctor you saw. That is what is is executed into the contract. And if anybody ever wants to see what is there, they have to meet it only has to be a doctor, and they have to have this particular credentials to be able to access the information. So the blockchain so the blockchain itself is a tool. It's like almost, you can think of them almost as a network of computers. So think about it as you have Google, you have Yahoo, you have this one, but the idea is you're doing email, but each of them have different ways of making it better and faster. And then you have the different things you can do in there of creating the smart contracts. I don't know if I've been able to
Yes.
in that well.
Thank you, Muthame. I find it very interesting how it has, yeah, how it is evolving with this new technologies. I want to do here a quick pause because I know that Team One had session one. So Anna, Mariam, and Tatul had the session on DeFi and smart contracts. So Mutame, I want to do a quick pause and ask them also um, to if they could share a bit about like the conclusions that they discussed in their teams. Um, yeah, the description of activities that we're using through our content, like the challenges in relation to these topics. So here, I don't know, Team One, a representative of Team One. I don't know if um, you would like to jump in. And I can see you have your mic on.
I will start and Mariam continue, but the most of the information have been already presented uh, by Mutambai, because this is all he said. It's about session 11, and in order to present learning objectives, new concept or introduced, of course, for us, it's a new terminology and it is very difficult to understand. Um, and as a facilitator, I'm sure that for the group also it will be difficult. Still here, it's with support of a Platon methodology, brainstorming, learning cards, and back-to-back, three different methodologies used. Facilitators try to clarify the differences between decentralized finance, DeFi, and centralized finance, uh, as Mutimbai mentioned, and very clear, thank you for this very simple explanation of this difficult topic. We understand that decentralized finance is a system when financial services such as crypto financial services attached to each other and run on a blockchain. A centralized finance, it's a financial system like a centralized, like a bank or other financial institution. The third definition was about smart contract, which it was again very simple, clarified. And it's a computer program which is signed and stored on the blockchain after any agreement buy and sell something between the individuals, and financial system, which is a network of institutions like banks, insurance companies, or something. Then facilitator trying with support of different games, brainstorming, first of all, ask different questions and follow the audience, try to find answers. Then we are using of learning cards, trying to explain what is DeFi in their own boards, what is smart contract, what is CFI, and of course, the facilitator should be very well prepared and with card and with knowledge. First of all, it's very important for facilitator trainers to know everything in order to answer on their question. Like now, we find all the answers on the questions from Mutambai because he's expert and he clarified. And the same challenges will be in the group. Potential challenges for the trainers will be during the session if I miss some information on or I can't answer on their questions. And maybe when we decide to organize this session, as you will be good to invite some expert on cryptocurrency, blockchain, in order to provide more practical information. And we like a lot the third exercise, and decided that the third back-to-back will be presented by Mariam. Mariam, are you here? And this
Yeah.
is, okay.
Yeah, it's the third activity is a back-to-back activity where the facilitator asks to the participants to trace the following tables with three boxes, and they should fill in these boxes with the following concepts, which is written like DeFi, SEFI, and the smart contracts in a random numbers. And then next, the facilitator asks participants to work in pairs and have them sit back to back. Explains that one participant will say a number from 1 to 3, and their partner will need to explain the concept they have in the corresponding boxes. And participants will take turns until both have shared the definition for the three concepts in their own words. So, what we think that so after this we will have this discussion to each other, some reflections, but what would be the challenges, what we thought that maybe they will misunderstand, or for them it will not be very clear the activity. So the facilitator should how say should explain it very slowly, like step by step, and if the participants will have some question, yeah, it should explain to very like clearly. Yeah, we have. I think it would be the challenge.
Thank you, Mariam. As we have been saying, these are very technical concepts, so it is really important to understand it like from our for us to understand it and then to explain it further. So, as Marta has been saying also during the training, if we need to look at videos, read more articles, repeat the training, the recording, go back to it, then we do need to reinforce that. And also, just to highlight, from our end, we can provide additional support if it's needed. As Anna, you were saying, if you start rolling out the program, and you need additional support from the technical side, Aflatun can also support, including Mutembe, but also just to also invite you to support each other. For example, Marat and Tatul are also experts on this area, so we can also support each other with the knowledge that we have.
Would be
Okay,
great. Thank you. I
thank you,
think
Mariam.
I will need this help.
Yes, for sure. So I wanted to ask all of you before we go back to Team 3 and also Mutembe's presentation. How are we doing? How is our energy? I'm going to ask you to share with me to rate the energy as we always do with 5, as we have been saying, with a lot of energy, 4 energy, but it is going down. 3 is like I'm hungry, I'm sleepy. Um, I think I'm losing energy. 2 is yeah, I'm thinking on other things, and 1 is I already left a few minutes ago. So Anna, okay, Elnas, Marat, Mariam, 3, okay. What about the rest? Marta, Tatul, Ervis, 3. Okay. So what about taking a break of 10 minutes? Let's take a 10-minute break, then we come back and we're going to continue. Okay? So let's take a quick break. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Where we have we are starting to have, probably because of the COVID situation, we started to collect all the data about patients with all the uh, stuff which are connected to the person. But for example, different type of doctors cannot have the information about the one person's. For example, I can have every single information about my medicines, my where I was and when I was in what kind of doctors. But for example, the doctor cannot know what kind of researches was, what kind of history, medical history I have. So probably it could be very nice idea to to use it in the healthcare system. And the next new concept was voting system. So blockchain technology can provide a transparent and secure platform for conducting elections. For example, during COVID, our government decided to have elections using post of and they create a lot of paper for that, and people in Poland were just very not happy because of that situation, because we spend a lot of money for paper and new paper, like because they decided to send the voting cards to each person, so it was some very strange situation. So probably voting system can be great, because not only because of the money that we can spend on them, but because of the real voting process and the elections that we have. So yeah, real estate, so blockchain technology can record ownership and transfer of assets. So we had a small discussion about that, and identify verification. So blockchain technology can enable a secure and decentralized identity management system, reducing the risk of identified thieves. So it was this is that was a new concept for from our perspective. The descriptions of the activities were very clear. We have in this exercise in this session we have 4 case studies where we can have a small discussions about each of the study and potential challenges. From our perspective, the knowledge. Definitely the knowledge. If we should have Motembei with us all the time. Can we scan have a QR code in the manual with Motembei, so to have all the answers during our yeah. So, Ervis, do you want to add something from your side? Maybe I just missed something.
No, you did a great job, Marta. Um, I mean, that was what we discussed. So I think what you said is I found more than enough.
Thank you, Ervis. Thank you, Marta. And it's really interesting, like when you learn more about blockchain, because usually there's this idea that blockchain is only for cryptocurrency, right? But when you learn more about these new applications in real estate, in supply chain, as Mutame was saying, in all these different areas, um it's well, from my end, I can say that I think it's really impressive, and it's fascinating as well. And as you said, Marta, it's really important to try to keep up with the pace, right? To stay informed on this new integrations of blockchain in the different areas that we have. Um, so thank you very much, Team Three. So we're Mutembe. I think we can go back to the presentation. So you already explained a bit about the smart contracts, about DeFi. Um, and this will also allow us to understand a bit more about NFTs, and I don't know if you would like to highlight any additional point in relation to this application of blockchain in the different areas.
Okay, let's get back to the presentation a bit. But essentially, it's a continuous process. There's people who are building new applications on blockchain literally every day, right? So, interestingly, one of my first experiences with understanding the whole concept was actually even before the Bitcoin paper, because everybody thinks that everything started with the Bitcoin paper in 2008-9, But the reality is the ideas of decentralization have existed for a very long time, right? If you think about those people who've been building community currencies, outside of the main currencies, the communities in Brazil, in places like Austria, like there's the Waggle experiments in post World War One, Switzerland and Austria, where they came up with their own community currency, where they were saying, okay, why is there so much inflation in the world? Because there's been the war, World War One, but our small community here, I the potato farmer still makes the same potatoes, and the tomato farmer still makes the same tomatoes. Why is the currency devalued just because there was a war somewhere else and Switzerland was neutral? Well, why am I not able to move my goods? So they came up with their own paper-based currency, which if you give someone, and then if it's stamped, and then you get your tomatoes and it moves. If someone decides to store it, then it loses value. It only gains value and moves. So I would urge you to even look at things like the Vogel experiments, WORGL experiment that happened. So the ideas have been there. It's only now that we have the computational power and the computers to actually to do this at scale. That's what has really transformed. And you have the cryptographic ways of doing it, because remember, someone could just add a stamp on a piece of paper, right? But now cryptographically you can't do that. You can't just add something. Everything is can be seen. So these ideas have existed with people for a long time, and it's all been about how to figure out how to do trade with human beings when you don't trust them. Back in the 1,000 years plus years ago, when people didn't trust, you only went to the marketplace, you exchange your cows and goats, but you didn't know when you came out whether someone would attack you. The same person who you sold it to attacks you and takes back their their goats and cows, right? That's the way it was before. And so slowly we've tried to find better ways of increasing doing things with people, and when you're not sure about trust. And now with the blockchain, you're actually able to do a lot of these things. So we can continue with with this. Just 1 second. Can put up. I know it's a lot of information, but even for me, every other day I'm getting something. I'm learning something. So let me just share my screen. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, sorry, not that. Okay. Okay, perfect. So getting into some more text and but hopefully this will be very easy to get through. So decentralization and the blockchain. The whole idea about decentralization is a principle where you're no longer having one institution, like we said. You're no longer having these powerful lawyers and banks. And this is why for a long time, lawyers and banks have been against the blockchain, because it's taking away their jobs to some extent. So if you think AI is the one which is taking away some people's jobs, like the blockchain is also, it's enabling people to just do things by themselves. Blockchain technology it's on top of blockchain networks. And then autonomy and transparency. We get autonomy and transparency. So traditional contract, before you had to have Maria and myself, we have to go to a lawyer, we come up with a contract, we go to the bank keeps the money and then only executes once the transaction is done. But now it's with Ethereum or with the blockchain, it's just the two of us, we make a transaction. So decentralized finance. So think of this way. If we were to have whatever you were able to get from a bank, in terms of you can have assets, you can go to the bank and you can use the bank to buy treasury bills or to buy bonds. You can use the bank to borrow money and to lend someone money. But most of the time for the bank, right? When you give them your money, they'll lend it to someone else and then they'll give you some interest. But they'll usually make a lot more from your money, right? There's the whole world of derivatives. The bank account, they give you a credit card, you have your wallet, you can use it for things. Banks give you your home insurance. You can be able to do margin trading on different things. You can do payments in the bank. You can go and you can put some of your cash and someone can borrow it and use it. The banks do all these things of overnight trading where they give the government or they give a big company money and then the next day because the company just needed money to execute a trade. So you find a lot, if you have a small business, you can go to the bank, you can get a contract from someone, you can go to the bank and say, hey, I have a contract already for supplying, let's say, tomatoes or chairs or cars, yeah? I already have a contract. Give me some money to buy the cars and then I'll pay you back, right, afterwards. And the banks do that, right? And you can store assets in the bank. You can store your gold and then it appreciates, you get something or other things. So the bank, you can do that. Now imagine when in a world where you did not need to have a bank account, because in some countries banks offer you all these things, some don't. But now imagine you're in a world where you can actually be able to do all these things and you don't need a bank. And this is the world of decentralized finance. Is you don't need a bank, all you need is your wallet, and you can be able to participate in all these things, right? You can be able to get insurance. You can be able to use stable coins so that you can, instead of like, usually you'll go to the bank or you'll go to a currency exchange bureau to be able to get dollars or to get euros or to get another currency. But now with DeFi, you don't need a bank for that. You just get your fiat, you go buy a stable coin, you have now dollars, you can or euros, you can do them anywhere in the world. They have lending protocols. You can be able to put some money, you borrow from someone else based off of your crypto assets, right? You can be able to save, you can able to get liquidity, to be able to do some of your transactions. You can have a marketplace to be able to do things. So now imagine DeFi is a world where you can do all the things you would be able to do in a traditional bank, but without the restrictions of having to do with the bank. So key DeFi applications, there's lending and borrowing. You have platforms such as Compound and Aave that allow users to lend and borrow cryptocurrencies without the need of a traditional financial institution. You have the DeFi exchanges that I was talking to you about yesterday, like Uniswap and Carve, that enable peer-to-peer trading of cryptocurrencies and tokens without what they call central order books, right? Then you have stable coins and synthetic assets. So stable coins, as I said, USDT, USDC, you can be able to, which are pegged to fiat currencies like the dollar. You can be able to get them and you can be able to track, let's say that you can buy crypto or assets that are pegged to like the gold, right? So you don't have to own gold yourself, right? But now there are people who've built products on top of the blockchain for you to be able to get tokens of real world assets, whether it's real estate or other things. That is one of the biggest potential. Like they say there's like $450 billion of assets globally that can be tokenized, right? and which would allow a lot more people to be able to do that. The US recently passed what is called the Genius Act, which is allowing any institution to offer stable coins on the assets that they have, to tokenize their assets into stable coins, as long as it's in the USD domination. There's something called yield farming and liquidity mining, where people are rewarded for providing money to DeFi protocols. So essentially what it means is someone will ask you to give your crypto, so that other people can borrow against that crypto and you get rewarded for that, right? So as I mentioned, there's these two platforms, one called Compound and another one called Aave. So if you provide crypto to it, they can give you interest. The same way a bank, you go and you deposit your money, because the bank is not into the business of storing your money and saving your money. They don't really care, but they care that you're going to give them your money, your fiat, and they can give other people to borrow, and they make money off of that. And so again, in the DeFi space, these platforms which also allow this, and they give you a very good interest on your deposits there. And I know a lot of times, maybe there's another country which has a better thing, better interest rates, but in the crypto world, you can do it with any platform in the world. You can be able to borrow. You can autonomous protocols that self-execute the smart contracts. Most of this lending and borrowing, it's smart contracts which are working. You don't have to go somewhere and you're convincing this loan officer at the bank to give you money. No, these things are, as long as you meet the conditions, you can borrow your money, right? But again, as people in the crypto space always say, do your own research. Yeah. Because again, these are generally very, like Compound and Aave, they are very legitimate, but there are a lot of others there that are not. So you have to check. As I mentioned, there's decentralized exchanges like Uniswap and Curve, the automated market makers, liquidity pools, decentralized governance. So think of exchanges as the stock market. In the stock market, you usually, in the past, you had to get a stockbroker to be able to go and buy things for you. Right now, with the advent of things like Robin and Robinhood and all these other platforms, you can be able to do these things much easier. But now, within the DeFi, decentralized exchange space, right, you don't need a stockbroker, right? Is people have put their different assets there on the decentralized exchange, and you can be able to participate in that and buy the value of something which you think is going to go up or down. You can provide your money for other people to be able to buy and sell, and you get a share of the trading fees. Because remember, in the past, for the stock exchange, usually the stockbroker makes money off of like being able to trade your shares. Like if I bought Apple stock, and let's say I don't know what it is today, but let's say Apple stock is $200, and by next week it goes to 250, right? Usually the stockbroker makes a trading fee of their platform. For that stockbroker, they make some money out of that. And now, essentially, what they're saying with in the crypto world, in the decentralized exchanges, you can share in that by having provided your money for people to do trading there. Yeah. And then the governance is decentralized. It allows you to participate in the decisions that are made for that stock exchange, right? Because usually in most stock exchanges around the world, it's only the big firms, the stockbroker firms, that can be able to make decisions about what happens, right? So there's a good example here of how these liquidity pools work, right? Those of you who know Hello Kitty, right? And so we will take the example of a candy store, right? So imagine there's a magic candy store where you can trade candies for chocolates without needing a shopkeeper or anyone else around, right? The store uses a big jar filled with candies and chocolates, and it's always known the price based on how much each is in the jar, right? So The jar is the liquidity pool, right? There's candies and chocolates mixed together, and you always start with 100 of one and 100 of the other. The formula is that the rule is that they always has to be the same, an equivalent amount of candy versus chocolates. If you take some chocolate out, you have to put in some candies. If you take some candies out, everything has to be proportional, right? So if someone wants to come and buy candy, right? You want to get 10 candy, you have to add chocolate into the jar. Yeah. But there's a catch. The more candies you take, the more chocolates you have to add. Why? Because there are now fewer candies left and they are now more valuable. Again, you can sell the candies. If you have candies and want chocolates, you can put candies and take the chocolates out. Again, same rule applies, right? And who usually fills the jar, right? It's people called liquidity providers. So usually people with a lot of crypto or money, they put in their candies and chocolates, and in return, they earn a small fee every time someone trades, right? Say you wanted to trade and buy a certain, crypto, right? And now the thing is, the people who had lent their crypto in there, now they make some money from whatever trade you make, right? The same way I said, someone will go and buy Apple stock and will make something from that margin when it moves from 200 to 250. Again, no shopkeeper is needed. Everybody just understands what they need to do. You don't need anyone to make the trades. The jar handles everything magically. It's open all the time. Most stock markets, they are between a certain hour and a certain hour. In some countries, because it's so small, it's only in the morning, but this is a stock market that never sleeps, right? So the downside, candy loss, if the candy price changes a lot outside the store, the people who fill the jar might lose some value compared to just keeping their candies and chocolates. Because once you put your crypto in there, right, you can't easily just remove it, right? Because it's being used for trading. So if the prices change out there, then you might lose, right? If someone trades a lot at once, the price of candies and chocolates can quickly move, right? Someone is using a lot of money. So this is what they say, like someone who comes and causes inflation. Like usually this happens a lot when people from the city are moving to the village. Yeah, the village people don't have so much money, but you move there and you've made all your money in New York or in Zagreb or in some big city somewhere, right? Astana. And then you go to the village and you go to the butchery and you buy all the meat, right? Because you have the money. Then you cause an inflation in the village for that week because now um, you are able to buy things and other people are not able to buy things. So I don't know if I saw some questions. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, yep, as I said, stable coins, getting deeper into stable coins. What are stable coins? There's USDC, USDT, there's one called DAI as well. And usually they are pegged to an actual currency in the world. And this is most likely the US dollar. And this is one way that, because the US has been fast to catch up with this, this is one way they're going to retain their dominance in the world because now everybody is going to be using their USD, their tokens, their stable coins to do trading, right? So then synthetic assets. So this is like the way I was telling you, it's almost like a stable coin, but it's connected to a certain stock or a commodity like gold or silver or house prices or certain stocks, there's those synthetic, real. So it's usually called tokenization of real world assets, right? And a lot of people are now getting into that space as well. So usually these days, like for example, in the US, you're told that if you're going to come up with a stable coin, you have to have 1-to-1 in the bank. You have to have the exact amount of dollars and that you're providing in your token. As I mentioned before, yield farming and liquidity mining, you provide your crypto for other people to use, and you share in the platform's trading fee. Someone comes up with a platform for people to trade, like a stock market, and you provide some of your money, then the platform can do trades and you make a share of that, right? This is usually the same case as most um, stockbrokers. Yeah, you're giving them your money, and or an investment company, right? So you have this investment companies that do mutual funds and other things. So you give them your money, and then they usually buy and trade in different assets, and you make something out of this. But now imagine you're part owner of a big investment company. Literally, this is what it's creating. DeFi has created that you can actually be a part owner of a big investment company. So you give them some of your crypto. People who trade within that platform, the platform fees that they are charged to do the trading, you get a share of that. Yeah, you earn rewards, and you can compound your interest. Now, as I said, challenges. DeFi has a lot of challenges. It's a new space. It's taken very many years for stockbrokers and all these investment banks to have good regulations, because they did a lot of things in the past which led to a lot of challenges, right? Where the banks collapse, or things like that. So DeFi also has the same risks, right? Because also it's software, there's security vulnerabilities. DeFi protocols have faced challenges such as, code vulnerabilities, someone hacking and taking all the money. The North Korean hackers are really looking for this, yeah, so that they can steal crypto. So there've been high-profile cases of that happening. Something was wrong with the code. Regulatory uncertainty in a lot of countries. The legal and regulatory landscape for DeFi is still evolving. The US has started clarifying a lot of things. China, Europe has it's called MiCA, crypto assets like regulations. So a lot of them are coming, a lot of countries are now coming up with this, yeah. There's the technical complexities, navigating the technical nuances of DeFi platforms and interacting with smart contracts requires some level of expertise. As I mentioned, it's a bit of code sometimes, but there are some who are now making it easier user interface. Um, as even Marat was saying, it's better if you do all these things on Binance or on Coinbase, because they make it much easier than doing it on DeFi. You know, Volatility and risk. The crypto markets inherently volatile, because it's when depending. It's only if, like, for example, if it's a stable coin, it's less volatile. But usually, these are assets which it's very different market conditions that decide their value. So the future of DeFi, it's becoming more and more mainstream. As you can see, what's happening with stable coins. A few years ago, people were not even talking about stable coins. It was said that it's a nice, cute toy, but people wouldn't be able to take it. Now you're hearing Swift, which is a global messaging service for money. They've picked Ethereum to work with, right? So a lot of things are changing. Interoperability, integration. Again, I said, like, DeFi to a certain extent, blockchains are usually like different countries. Sometimes you don't have agreements between countries for trade and for transfer and such. So now these platforms are starting to become more integrated, and you can be able to have bridges and different tools for them to interact. And also regulatory frameworks are becoming better. Europe with the MiCA and other digital currency and digital asset regulations are coming in to allow the space to continue. So key takeaways: decentralization empowers people. The innovative applications that are coming up, including lending, borrowing, trading, creation of synthetic assets. This is something which is really coming. Challenges and risks are still going to be there. The future is increased mainstream adoption, improved interoperability, and clearer regulatory frameworks which are coming. The Genius Act in the US, the MiCA in Europe. There's a lot, even, where I come from, Kenya, they're also now debating, it's already in the parliament, digital assets regulations. So it's changes. This is the future. And now you're having a lot of this, you're having AI and blockchain now coming together, because now you have all these agents which are out there and they have to work in a decentralized way, and you want to have decentralized identity and all these things. So this is definitely the future. So it makes sense for us to educate ourselves as soon as possible, because this is what we're going to be in. Yeah.
Thank you, Mutembe. Maybe I think that we can do a quick pause. I know it's very technical and it's a lot of information. So I would like to do a quick pause to see how are we doing, if you have any question. Also, yeah, for any of you to share like how you see it, how you understand it. How are we doing? Everyone is like and I know it's Friday still, the last day of the week, so it's an interesting combination. But any
I'm learning a
question,
lot.
Erby? Go ahead.
No, I'm learning a lot, and thank you very much for your presentation, Mutembe. Very clear and with examples and very detailed. So yeah, I'm very curious about it.
Yeah,
Welcome.
same. Thank you very much. And you will also share these records to us, yes? To rewatch sometimes. Yeah.
So yeah, Mariam, just to come in here. So that's why we're recording it. Sorry that we didn't mention at the beginning. We usually ask for your consent, right? So we're recording it for your purposes or interests. So you can go back and review, rewatch
Yeah.
whatever the part you'd like to kind of in details watch it. The recording, it'll take some time to clean it up and then make it available to you guys. So we'll do it from our side, as well as all the materials. I think Mutambe, the PPT you presented, perhaps we'll be sharing that as well, so they
Yeah,
can
I think
have.
it's already, it should already have been shared, but we'll check. I'll confirm with my.
Perfect, sounds good. So yeah, together with everything, Maria will share
Okay,
again,
great.
as Maria said, as Mutambe said, this is not easy for a lot of us. It's something new, could be like a
Yeah.
foreign language even. So it's going to take some time to absorb the information, to get acquainted, to read about it. Not only the material we're going to provide, perhaps from the outside, of course, it has to be secure or the trustworthy information. But yes, we will share everything that's related to this workshop throughout the 3
Yeah.
days. Mm.
Yeah, I need some time again to read it again, to have to exercise it sometimes, and yeah, I think day by day and step by step, it will be more, I'll say, clear and understandable for me also. Thank you.
Yes, to go back to it and review it and also discuss it with people that are around you and start thinking about it. Marta, you're sharing a comment here. It says, I believe that blockchain system was originally created to circumvent an existing system, one that people consider unjust or questionable, or simply one that offers a way to bypass current structures. I also think something similar, and it's quite interesting what you're saying. um, yeah, thank you for sharing. The now legitimate popular system that emerged will go underground using the previously illegal. Like in a sense that it will replace what we have right now, right? With its limitations as well and its corruption as well. Yeah. I mean, I know it's very different as we have been discussing, but I think it's an interesting point, Marta, and I have also thought about that personally. Um, okay, so just very quickly, how, like in your own words, with what Muteme already shared, how would you define DeFi? Like DeFi, Muteme already explained how it was created, like the main features, the disadvantages, the risks, but now like trying to to connect the dots, how would you define it, like in your own words? Remember, this is a safe space. It's a learning space. So, in your own words, how would you define it? You can share your thoughts on the chat, or you can also turn on your mic. How would you define DeFi? Marat, to speak in one language, like in one particular system, like in this new system, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like it's if everything will be moved in the blockchain, it's like to speak in one language
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because it will be similar for all. Like to
Yes,
have one value for one asset for every country like this.
yeah. Using like using the main feature of blockchain, the decentralization, to this financial to all the areas as we explained in
Yes,
session 13, but also like in the financial part as Mutembe was explaining, using it for all of the actions that we can do through a bank, but everything
yeah,
decentralized with the main
yes,
features.
yeah, and the understandable for everyone.
I think that we're getting
Let's
there,
hope.
right?
Yes, let's hope.
Exactly.
Let's hope
Because
we
it's
will have it.
it's new, it's changing very fast, so that's why we're here. Thank you. Elnas, you're sharing a system managed by all members. Exactly, because going back to the main features of blockchain, this is transparent. Remember that if we want to do any change, we need to have consent. Um, it is visualized by all of the members that are part of that blockchain. Okay, what else? What else? What about the others? How would you define the fee? Tatul, Mariam, Marta, Ana. How would you define it, like in your own words? Ervis. Okay, Tatul, it is the future, but I think it still has a long way to go to be reliable, just like crypto in general. Yes, like some elements are still in the process, right? In consolidation, so it's still changing a lot. It's a response to the needs of many companies and institutions. This part of making everything transparent, everything more efficient as well, but mainly to avoid like having yeah, an external institution that regulates depending on their own interests and objectives. Okay. Any question about this? Okay, I can see that we're connecting the dots. We're in the process a lot. I know. Sarina, future financial operations decentralization, exactly. Um, okay, so if you have, I know, Marta, that maybe you're connecting the dots and a lot of questions are emerging. If you want to share those questions right now, free to do so. And if you want to follow up afterwards, please feel free to reach out as well. But let's try to use this space where we are all connected to try to answer to those questions. So before we continue, I want to ask you to share through a physical, like through a position, how do you feel right now? Like listening to learning about cryptocurrency and blockchain, and then DeFi, and thinking about AI and blockchain all together, and how it will change the way we live and manage and so on. How do you feel? Like with a position, a body position, I would like to ask you to share with us, how do you feel right now? You can be completely honest. Mara, okay, Ervis like this. Uh, What about the rest? Mariam, I feel like this, like what's going to happen with the world with AI and blockchain. Mariam, okay. What about you, Tatul, Marat, Marta, Anna, Mutembe? With all of the knowledge that you have, you're Marat, what does that mean that you're like in space, like
To the moon.
to the moon? Okay, okay, good.
Mutambe
Okay.
will understand what's it meaning to the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, to the moon.
Is it a particular like
Wag
It's like
me,
prediction. When the price is going up, we are saying to the moon.
to the moon.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking now blockchain language now.
Yeah, crypto language.
Crypto language.
Wag
Thank you.
me.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Marat, for sharing. So, just very quickly, we are going to finish a bit early today, but before we leave, I think Mutame will explain very briefly NFTs. We already mentioned, Team 2 already mentioned a bit about NFTs, but Mutame will explain it further very quickly. And then I want to show you the resources, like just to show you again, like the resources that we have for this program. I'm going to share you a feedback survey very quickly, just for you to share your feedback on the training and do a closing activity, and that's it. Okay, so just for you to know what's coming. And yeah, we're going to finish early, so earlier. So just for you to also note that. So Mutembe, I don't know if we can go back to a presentation just to briefly go through the NFTs concept.
Okay. Okay. I think I'll just quickly go through this and also NFTs, but as we said, beyond cryptocurrency, blockchain applications, there's supply chain, healthcare, real estate. As I mentioned, this would be an example of in the supply chain of pharmaceutical products, you create different blocks from the pharmaceutical research to, you can be able to trace it all the way from like what was built and how it has gone, right? Then there's in real estate, as I said, you can actually be able to participate in real estate even in the US as long as you have a wallet. Then this for the medical, right? As I said, patient history, treatment procedure, lab results, everything is on the blockchain and can be accessed by the doctor when they need to. And then now we come to the rise of non-fungible tokens, right? And I know quite a number of you were already talking about it. So as I mentioned before, when we got when the internet was developed in the by Sir Bernard Lee in like in I think they said it was with US and France, no, well, more or less France, right, and Switzerland, um, but it was also being developed in the military here in the US and then also Europe, yeah. So this networking of computers, right? um, what happened is that now we had these digital things, these zeros and ones, that information can also be very valuable, and you're passing information from one place to another. Then we started being able to build, to do images and to do a lot of things. And the question became, okay, there's also certain things, that assets that we are creating in this digital world that are also valuable, and how can we own them, right? So whether it's now music, for example, now we have digitized music. Before you only had cassettes and records. Now you have digital versions of that. We've been able to codify voice, right, and image and sound, right? And so the question was like, how do you prove ownership of something that you actually own, virtual real estate, that you own a website, that you own, someone can't just clone your website somewhere, right? There's a lot of revenue being moved in the online space. How do you manage that? Now people are doing games. If you've ever played a video game or a mobile game, right? Crash, Candy Crush or something like that, right? After winning some coins, right? How can you spend them in there, and how can you trade? So actually some of the earliest uses of sort of non-fungible tokens is in the gaming world, right? Where you're buying, Candy Crush, you're buying something there or such, right? So the rise of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, is all about ownership, right? With fungible tokens, that's crypto like Bitcoin and ETH and such. It means like it's easily, you know, you don't really own it. You can just give someone else, you can change it. But now the idea about non-fungible tokens is like, yeah, it's scarce, it belongs to someone, it should clearly be able, you can't say that the a Bitcoin is only yours, right? It's only yours and it's only that one and can never be used by anyone again, right? No, they're supposed to move around. But for tokens, the idea is like you're assigning ownership to something. That's why they are non-fungible. It's like it's not idea is that it's connected to someone, right? There's ownership and it shouldn't be changed, it shouldn't be replicated, right? So I'm sure some of you have seen this. This was the early craze in the 2017, 18, 19 era where NFTs became really popular. Most people would say this is just JPEG or picture that people have bid crazily expensive. Some of these things were going for like $100,000 or more. Yeah. But more interestingly, people started like Jay-Z. Those of you who know Jay-Z, right? He sold some of his albums for Bitcoin, and all of a sudden he found out that he was super rich, right? Because he sold, people bought and paid him in Bitcoin, right? But again, the thing is about this is that it's the thing about the cryptography is that it enabled us to put a certain code inside either different kinds of media like image or audio to make sure that it either can't be copied or that is a unique. You can be able to identify it as this is the original and the unique one. It's one of the beautiful ways that now with NFTs you can also fight against counterfeiting, because people counterfeit music, they counterfeit a lot of things, and a lot of musicians lose their money, right? And so people have been able to sell using, this is now Binance, so BNB, music records. The other use case for NFTs is proof of attendance, right? So we've all attended this course, right? Now, how do we prove that we attended it? How does someone else somewhere else go and they'll say, "Oh, I was in this course with Maria and Marat," and you know, and none of us is there to confirm, right? So now there are things called proof of attendance protocols. So, for example, there's concerts, like musicians are selling their tickets in terms of NFTs, and if you attended a certain concert, then you can be able to access, some, special limited edition of one of their albums or their music, just to drive loyalty, right? People are actually also using NFTs and blockchain for academic certificates, because an academic certificate, it shouldn't be changed. It shouldn't be able to just change just like that, right? You should be able to confirm that someone went to a certain university and it's not a fake degree, right? There are some, and then that you did certain courses, right? And then it can give you access to other things. But this proof of attendance, this is one use case in the entertainment industry where, a musician like Coldplay, you get, their ticket in a form of an NFT, and that NFT will give you access to certain private events And so, it becomes much more interesting and you can collect it. The real life use cases of proof of attendance protocols is like Estee Lauder, like the company that does the cosmetics. They've used them to give people who buy some of their products special, access to different launches and things like that. Lottie London, Decentraland, like it's an event for blockchain and AI and being able to prove that you attended that one so that you can attend another one, you can get a certificate, you can be able to get special access to new softwares. There are now particular platforms where people actually get this. One is called OpenSea. OpenSea has been one of the biggest platforms for being able to get NFTs. You can search, you can put up your NFT there. And for a certain period of time, people were making a lot of money by being able to create digital art. So if you're an artist, imagine you're an artist and now you can be able to sell directly to your fans and you can make money off of that. Because a lot of times, so with the current internet the way it is, right? The big companies, they own too much power, right? You're the one who is creating your video content on YouTube, right? You're the one who's creating your content by interacting with your friends on Facebook. But they now sell your profile, like Facebook or Meta will sell your profile to an advertising company, and you'll never get any of that money, right? So this is the whole idea of like how NFTs can come in to help you to own your things. If you write a story, if you and people are interacting with it, they can pay you. Your friends who are interacting with it, they can pay you for interacting with it. If you put a viral picture or piece of video on YouTube, you can actually be able to get most of the money from the people who are interacting with it. A lot of these things are quite new, so they haven't yet caught on as much, but it's slowly changing. And hopefully, the same way it took a long time for people to eventually have videos and social media and become influencers. This is now becoming a better way for doing it. And yeah, as I said before, one way of participating in this space is having a wallet, crypto wallet, and that's the way you can participate in this world. I think we already went through this earlier, but yeah. The conclusion, embrace the future. DeFi and NFTs represent the cutting edge of blockchain technology, and they're transforming a lot of industries. Um, we definitely need to explore further and see what's happening in the space. Start your journey, open a crypto wallet, engage in DeFi protocols, and begin collecting or creating your own NFT to experience the power of the technology firsthand. Yeah.
Thank you, Mutembe. So in a sense, NFTs are like the digital version of a real real art product, or because it can be music, it can be videos, pictures, etc., right? So that is represented in the blockchain. And the advantages, as you have already mentioned, like this, without having an external person or entity that controls it, right? So if I am an artist, and that's why I understand that NFTs are so popular among artists, because they are pushing towards this, right? So
Yeah.
if I'm an artist, let's say, to put it in simple words, says I have this piece of art, so in a sense, it is represented in a digital version in the blockchain. Is that right? Like,
Yeah.
in
And it's unique. And you can always make sure that this is my piece of art. It's not a copy of someone else. And you can actually participate in contributing to me and paying me or being part owner of that piece of art. And it'll always be attributed to you. And no one can now go and just replicate it somewhere else. Like you can always check the cryptography there and be sure that this is the only version of it. So you can say that, hey, I've sold 50 million copies of my album, right? only 50 million. If someone is trying to sell you another one and doesn't have that particular cryptography, then you know that it's fake and that I'm not going to make any money out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not supporting me as an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
now that's why they try to do things such as, on top, if you have now the real NFT, it can give you access to other things like a new limited edition release whenever they release something, or
Yeah, you.
entrance to a concert, exclusive concert, or
Mm-hmm.
a private message from the artist and things like that, right? So it's actually a way for people in these industries to be able to actually generate more revenue and have more direct engagement with their fans, rather than, in the past they have to do all this through production companies and all these things. So now you can actually just be a solo artist and release stuff for yourself. So the idea is that it transforms a lot of things, but of course you have the ups and downs of
Yeah.
people getting into something. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mutame. I was scrolling in the page that you mentioned, and
But
it's so interesting that each, the one where you mentioned that it's the most famous one for NFTs, and it's so interesting that you can find that each piece of art is has a price in a different cryptocurrency, right? So they have like the price tag with a different one. This makes it interesting, but also complicated, I think, for the user. I mean, again, you need to be informed about how it works, be informed about this new cryptocurrency, how strong it is, how long has it been in the market, and so on. And just to note, in our program, we do have like a very simple activity where we ask our participants to create a drawing and think of like to make it more concrete, to think about the steps they would follow like in a regular scenario in order to sell that drawing, and then to think about NFTs as if, as we have been discussing earlier, like if this piece of art would have been transferred into like the blockchain, into a digital asset. So in order to make it more tangible for our participants, for our young learners. I can see that there are, yeah, some questions here. Uh, Marta. So here we have some questions. The merge pack refers to a record ranking. Marat. So in a sense, we should. I mean, this is like a very, you're going to something really particular, but in a sense, I mean, for example, following up Marta's question, it should be possible, right? But again, because it's controlled and because of all of the permissions that you would need, I mean, but in theory, every piece of art could be migrated and created into a digital asset, right, Mutembe? Like in theory.
Yes. Yes, and for example, I remember, so one of the programs that we were part of in blockchain, they exhibited, the Marlboro Man, this famous Marlboro Man image. And what the artist had done it is that they had turned it into an NFT and sold, and people could own part of the painting. So instead of just selling it to one person for like $1 million or $2 million or whatever, is now you could actually give access to so many more people to own a piece of that art, right? So that's what some people have actually been doing also. So it's just very interesting the kind of things that can be done.
Yeah. And as you already said, it's still in development, right? So a lot of things, regulations and features of how it works are still to be defined, right? In a sense. But it's an interesting idea and
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
wanted to quickly show this. I'll put it also in the link as a resource. But so when I was telling you about cryptography, right? This is a very good demo platform for showing you how. So this is a hash. This is what is usually created, like an image or a name. This is what it's transformed into. So if I put here Marat, so this is Marat in this sequence. So if I don't have this, um, like the code to be able to decipher this, then I'll never know that what was written was Marat, or Maria has a different, right? Or Mutembe, right? And so this is cryptography. It's taking something that everyone could usually be able to see, and it's converting it into like a code and making it very unique, right? So all the transactions are usually turned into something like this, right? Even like that ownership. So this would prove the ownership. And so the only if you have like the private key can you figure out that this is Mutembe, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is also something that's showing the blocks. So I can mine that, and that's what I get. Then can be created into the blockchain, right? This is how Mutembe, the transaction has been created there. It's mined, then it will come into the next block. Mined, you create the blocks, then you distribute. So this is a very nice website of playing around, and you start learning what blockchains are and how they function and how the code behind it. If you like playing with code and how things work, this is a nice
A
thing to.
nice thing. Thank you, Mutame. I think this is really useful to see it in a concrete way of how how it create, how these hashes are created, right? And how these blocks are also created, in a sense to look at cryptography in a tangible way as well. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing this resource. I think it's really useful. Okay, so any questions, comments about this? We're almost finished. The weekend is almost here. Not the group. Um,
I had
what, Mariam? Mariam?
I wanted to ask just some question maybe.
Sure.
So it was I have heard once like about NFT because my friend was doing it, and I was like always asking what is it, and never understood it. And I remember that he was working on the Photoshop creating this his designs, and he was uploading. And I have this question: does it matter in which program you will work? For example, is it only receives, for example, in designs unique and you should be the owner?
So as long as once you've created it, and then you saw what I showed you when I put like a name, Maria or something, then it created the hash, right? So you can use anything, and then now once you get to a platform like OpenSea and you convert it into an NFT, right? That means you've created like a hash for it, right? And so that is like a confirmation that it's unique. So it like encodes that within the image. And so it becomes an NFT, and it's the only one of its version. And you could say that, oh, I only want 10 of this, right? You could have worked it on using Photoshop or Canva or whatever it is you used. And then now you can come and you convert it into like an NFT on OpenSea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mutambe, and
But
thank you,
I have a
Mariam, for the
question,
question.
Montami.
Go ahead.
So when it's related to this, so if you're creating it digitally, how do you make sure that you have certain copy? Like in a simple term, right? How are you overseeing the quantity of it when it's digital to begin with?
Yeah, so remember I showed you those hashes that are created, right? So it's like that's being embedded into the image that you created, and then you can say that only the ones that are embedded, there are only 5 of those ones. So someone can be able to, copy them, like in the way you can copy paste. You can create copies and paste it, but as long as they don't have the hash in them, right, the encoding in them, then you know that they are not the original,
But
right? So
you, as a creator, can decide however many copies you want to sell. Is
yeah,
that right?
you decide. You decide. But you
And
see
you
now
have to embed that.
you're taking them from where you've created them and you're putting them into the blockchain. Once you've put them into the blockchain, you have to follow the rules of the blockchain. right? You can create them using your own tools outside, but once they get into the blockchain, and then they become NFTs, you turn them into an NFT, right? And you can say only 10 of them, right? Then you need to follow that, right? So it's like a smart contract that has been created. So you need to follow that.
Okay, so when you're deciding at first, that's the final number then.
Yeah.
Right?
So
You
once you
cannot
put it
come back.
in, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are sometimes you can come and try to change some things, but then you see you have to create consensus. So it can be maybe in the few people who are there, yeah. But yeah, the thing is once, because you see it's very hard to break those cryptography codes. You've created them, you've put them into that block. Now everybody knows that's the amount of images or artworks or music that is there. You
What
can.
about
Mhm.
in the same question, but the other side? What if it's a physical development of an item, like it's a physical thing? Let's say it doesn't have to be
Mhm.
digital, physical. You could take a picture of it and then make it digital. Has there been cases like this before?
So there's something actually called decentralized physical infrastructure. So where you are actually able to take things in the physical world and then you create representations of them in the digital world, right? And then you can be able to um, sort of represent them and put them on the blockchain or representations of them in the blockchain. So that's also something that has become a thing. Yeah, it's called deepin. Um, Decentralized physical infrastructure. So you can actually take physical, like for example, the what I was telling you about the Marlboro Man. So Marlboro Man is a physical painting, but then now you can create a digital representation that is connected to it, right? But that's where also the challenges come in. So like, oh, can someone go and create another physical one and try to use that one to create another digital version of it? So there are still those challenges of figuring out how do you actually make sure that these real world assets, even physical ones, are actually one to one, and you have proper representation of them in the digital world, and no one can just change things, right? So there's also that, because people have been able to put cars on the blockchain, houses on the blockchain, right? It's just been able to certify that that's a real a representation of what that is in the
What
real
happens
world.
to the actual physical item? Who's storing it? Where is it being stored?
A house is where it is, right? It's
No, if it's a car, if it's a portrait, if it's a any
yeah.
how does it work when it comes to
Yeah.
actual holding the physical item?
Yeah, so it becomes now a question of, okay, again, you have ownership documents, right? You still have the ownership documents of the car, the logbook and everything. So the logbook can be digitized. And then so you know that the ownership, the name is there, it's on the blockchain. And then so the person has the car, the serial number of the car is there, so the engine number or the chassis number, right? And so the person who's on the smart contract is the person who owns it. The person who's on the blockchain is the one who owns it, right? Same thing with the house. It's the lease or it's the title deed. If it's a painting, there's probably needs to be like an ownership document about it. If it's a record label, like a physical DVD or something like that, there's a certain maybe code on it, showing the ownership of it. So yeah, so you always need that thing that is in the real world and also the thing that is digital represented, and to be able to confirm between the two.
What happened? So in this case, promise the last question. Marlboro thing, you were saying the physical thing, and you said partially people own it, right? So part of it. So how in that case, who has the physical item?
Oh,
If
so
it's
it can be the custody of a museum where anybody can go and
Mm.
see it, right? You just want to be able to have the upside, because in the art, because remember, this is about the art trade, right? Because
Mm.
that painting is probably going to be sold at Christie or something like that, right? And someone is going to make a lot of money. So the by being able to put it in an NFT and have people own parts of it, that means that when it is sold one day for, because paintings are some of the best investments in the world, right? Because they're not taxed and everything. So when it goes, let's say from 20 million to 100 million, it's being sold for 100 million, right? That is 5x, right? So if you had bought a piece of it and you had bought maybe $100 worth of it, right? 5x that, you've made $500, right?
Mm.
Yes, it's in the custody of like a curator or someone else, but because it was officially put on a certain blockchain and you bought ownership into it, now the smart contract will just execute for you that you get a part of that money, or
Okay.
you own it now there, and you can decide to sell it to someone else. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all about, I guess, at the end of the day, investment, no? So you're not trying to have an item itself, let's say, but you're trying to get your profit, be it a share, a certain amount out of it
Yes.
in a way.
Yes. And so the beauty about now the blockchain is like, as long as someone has a wallet and they want and can participate and can afford and can be part of it, it's revolutionizing, like, because before only those wealthy private owners, like art people, could knew where any of these things were happening. You could only get into these places. But once something is put in the blockchain,
Like an auction,
wallets,
no? Like
yeah,
or it's like an auctionery or for like a very old, authentic things that only high
yes.
class people go to. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
makes sense.
yes, yes. So if someone decides to put them up, then you can be able to take part ownership, and when the value goes up, you can be able to participate.
Thank you, Mutembe, and thank you, Saida, for your questions. I think it's also, as you were saying, Mutembe, like a way to control, like for artists. That's why it's so interesting, a way to control the amount of copies they have, the amount of usage of their material, right? Because of internet and how we have it, everyone can now download pictures and music and so on. So to control this part as well.
Yeah,
Um,
and to incentivize fans who are loyal to get more benefit for buying the original things.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Because if you know
exactly.
that you have an original NFT and you go and show it, and because you cannot change anything, right? You go and prove it that you have it, then immediately it sends you like a private message to your wallet and says, "Hey, you've been invited to an exclusive restaurant because and come and you show your NFT and it's authenticated and you can get in. Anybody else can't get in, right? So
Yeah.
that pushes more people to buy more original art, so
Mm-hmm.
or music or such.
Yeah. Thank you, Mutembe. I think it's really, really interesting, and thank you for explaining it in a very clear way. Okay, so the good news is that we're almost finished with day three. As I said, just very quickly, so I'm just going to we're going to take 30 more minutes and then we're good to go. So from my end, I wanted to share very quickly to explain that. Um, as part of the program, as I explained at the beginning, you have a sheet called Frequently Asked Questions, where you have the key concepts explained, and not only the key concepts, but also a few other technical concepts explained in a very clear way. And here at the bottom, you have like the main questions that people usually have when they are learning these new topics. So also for you to be prepared when you train others. Let's say if you train other teachers or facilitators, or if you train directly your young learners, for you to know like to be prepared with the answer to these questions. I also already shared through the chat these resources, which are reliable sources of official cryptocurrency project websites. Again, talking about the education part, um, I think it would be good if you are going to implement this program, to go through the sources and first continue this individual learning process before training on these topics. Um, So this is the frequently asked question sheets. You also have the videos, not for all of the sessions, but for the sessions that address the main topics. These videos complement the learning process. Um, and you also have so they and you also have the posters which can be scanned with the QRs. I will follow. We are already following up on the ones that are not working. We will check this, but the rest do work. So for all of you to note that. And that's for the materials. I don't know if there is any question about the materials that are part of this program. No? Are you excited to use them?
I'm sorry,
Marat,
you have
go
only in
ahead.
English?
We currently have them in English, French, Spanish, and I think that's
I
it,
think
right,
we
Leila?
should have it in Russian as well, Marat. I think if that helps, I'm not 100% certain, but I remember we started working on it. I'm not sure if we finished it, but I think
Yeah,
for your context, that might be more useful than English for sure. So I'll
yeah,
look into
can be.
it and I can
Yeah,
share that as well. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marat. Okay, so is there any other question about the topic? So just to not only about what Mutembe already explained, but to open a brief moment of questions and answers. Um, uh, just yeah, since Mutembe is here with us and he has all of this knowledge, and also Marat, Tatul, and you have a lot of experience on this. Any other question that you have? Nothing. Everything clear? You're already experts? Anna, go ahead.
Uh, can we share in the chat our contacts, LinkedIn or Instagram, if someone need to some help or something? I'm open to help. Is it okay? I can share my LinkedIn or Instagram in the chat, okay?
Um, yeah, it's all up to you guys. If you want to exchange, it depends on you. You are the
Yeah.
participants. If you want to know ours, we can also easily share. But I think this question was addressed to the other participants of this workshop. So please go ahead and feel free to
No,
share with each other.
from my side. If it's okay, I can share mine. Yeah.
Yes,
If
please.
For
someone
sure.
needs any help, yeah, I'm open to help
Perfect. Well, there
anytime.
we go. We already have a master trainer willing to help others who'd want to know more.
Thank you,
Please go
Marat.
ahead, Marat. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So if there are no further questions, I'm going to share with you a few questions just to close up what we have been discussing. It's really important always, like when we have a learning process, to see how we connected the dots and what did we understood and what's still unclear. So I'm going to go back to the PPT very quickly, and I'm going to give you a few minutes for you to answer these questions. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to ask you to, if you want to share a bit about your conclusions. Can you see my screen in presenting? No?
No, not yet.
No.
No.
Let's see. Can you see it now? Okay.
It's good.
Okay. So here are a few questions. The first one is, what did I gain from this training? How do I feel about facilitating this content with my learners? Again, if I don't know if you are going to facilitate it from your organization, but if you would be facilitating, how do you feel about it? What do you still need to learn or review before you engage with the learners? And how can you do that? So I'm going to give you a few minutes to answer these questions, and then we're going to come back to the main room. Once you're finished with these questions, just let me know, give me a thumbs up. Um, and yeah, so let's take a few minutes to reflect on these questions.
They're not writing it anywhere, right? They just have to talk about it.
Exactly, yes. So you can register your responses in a notebook, or you can also share your answers through the chat. I stopped sharing. Do you want the questions again? Let me just share them here. Let me know once you're finished. Marat, you're ready, right?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to you to organizing and to lead us. It's not the easiest part, as I know, to organizing trainings. And you are trying to energize us for us yeah, to be in the wave, not to go to sleep or yeah. Thank you for it. And what I gain from this training, first of all, it's Aflatun methodology, which is not common to me. It's first time I'm going a little bit deeper on the methodology which you are giving. It's for the youth side. I'm looking from the youth side. It's very good. It's very interesting with the like card games and other stuff. It can be useful even not with the youth training. Yeah, it's first time I see this methodology and it's good for me. And overall, from the training of the about cryptocurrency, what I take from, of course, there is some new things which I learned, and uh, what I say on the first day, I want to know how to introducing kids language. Yeah, and I think yeah, it's very easy understandable now. I think I have done a lot of notes about blockchain or about like Bitcoin or NFT, how to easily give it to the kids, to the youth. Yeah, because sometimes I have this problem. I'm going too technically, and it's starting. It's not interesting. Yeah, from their side, and of course from other, it's very interesting to listen other opinions from other countries and the people, how they are thinking, their concerns, their uh, what risks they see on this. And I will suggest it, even if you will read a lot about blockchain and or about uh, cryptocurrency, it's better to start with small money and to test it, and you will deeply understand how it's working and how it's going. But of course, with small money. And I hope it will be future for everyone, everything. That's all from my side. And one more time, thank you organizing and for leading, for you, for Saida, and for Mutabek. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Marat. And thank you
And
all for being here, your time and your
yeah,
attention. And you know
you're
that from our end, as we have been saying, you count with our support during if you are going to implement the supplement or if you need an additional session on questions and answers for your teams or so on. Please feel free to reach out through Saida. Okay. Thank you very much, Marat. Anyone
Okay,
else who would like to share?
I can continue. So, first of all, thank you very much. It was really interesting for me. I gained a lot of new information because it was very new for me. I had never had this meeting in this kind of topics. So again, a lot of information and the new contacts which units very experienced people, and I know that if I will have some questions, I know with whom I should contact. And thank you very much. And by my side, if you will interested in some other topics, also I can share my experiences in youth working or implementing some activities. Yeah. And how I feel about the facilitating, I know that until I will not be sure in this topic, I will not start to sharing to others, because I know that I should go deeper. I should go in also the manual in the book to understand each activities, each topics, and to go deeper and to understand it clearly. And after it, I will be sure to share it not only with the youth, but also the older generations, with my coworkers also, because they are also very interested. They know that I'm here, and we are really interested in the future to cooperate with you and to make these activities also with youth. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you very much. And thank you also for sharing your support with others. I love that all of you have shared your contacts. All of you are experts in different areas. So I love that we can support each other as community. So thank you, Mariam. Anyone else who would like to share? I can see that Elina has already shared her conclusions through the chat. Yes, Tatul, go ahead.
First of all, let me to say thank you for organizing this training, and especially thank you to Utambe for very interesting and detailed presentation. What again? Today I have a lot of interesting information. For example, I have no idea about DeFi. It's very new for me, and it was very interesting. And about can we use it with our beneficiaries? I'm sure yes, because in Armenian, more easier to explain than in English for me. And I'm sure that we can use it, this information and methodology too. And that's some new information from our side. About questions, sometimes question not coming in the process of training. It's coming when we are trying to use it. And it gives us opportunity to find out, to search new information and understand and share it. It is some way to increase our knowledge too. Thanks again. It was very interesting, and I hope we will opportunity to meet again during some trainings.
Thank you. Or in Armenia, face to face. Thank you very much for sharing. And as you said, I mean, it takes time to sink in all of the information, and sometimes a lot of questions emerge when you are like, okay, creating the structure and the program in order to implement, and you're organizing with people and so on. So, again, feel free to reach out in case you need support in any stage of the process. Anyone else who would like to share or share through the chat? Yes, Sarina, go ahead.
Hi. Thank you very much for such interesting training. And I also didn't heard about the Aflatun methodology before, but I think the working with cards will be very engaging for young people. And unfortunately, I missed the first day of the training. And on the second day, I was in the group with Marat, and he kindly introduced me the topic of the first day, and I'm very grateful to him for that. and how I plan to use this method, to use this knowledge of this training. I guess I plan to facilitate this training using this guide. First of all, I will try to do it in a small group of youth, and I think it will help me like to see how participants will respond, and then maybe I will change something. Maybe I will make like more simple presentations, because I think I need some time to read the manual, to read the guide, to review the posters once again, like to strengthen my understanding of the materials. And thank you very much for this training. Thank you to Mutambe, to Saida, to all of the colleagues who shared their experience also. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarina. Thank you very much. And I also shared through the chat right now, well, a few minutes ago, a feedback form, because we're always assessing our trainings to make sure we identify what went well and what can be improved. Also, in relation to, for example, the timing of the training, the format, facilitators, and so on. This is anonymous, so we would really appreciate if you can right now it only takes you 2 or 3 minutes to go through the survey in order for you to share your feedback and for us to identify how can we improve. Um, and yeah, so I would appreciate if you can go through the forms. Let me know also once you already went through it. While we listen to the others' conclusions, I don't know if there's I'm sorry, if there is someone else that would like to share. Yes, Aida, go ahead.
First, if there's no feedback, then I will come in last because I have some updates.
Okay.
Any
No.
I think Marta wants to say something, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead, Marta. We can't listen to you. We can't hear you.
And now,
Yeah, we can hear you now.
you can hear me. Oh, okay. You can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you very much for these 3 days, very intensive days of training. On the beginning, I thought that this type of theme, it was not for me because I thought I can go through my life without this knowledge. And the most important thing for me is I need to know something, because the whole world will change someday, and it's changing, is in the process of change. And I was like thinking, okay, I can be not too close to this topic, and now I think if I won't be like a dinosaur, I need to know something. So from personal point of view, I think I need to change something, and I need to possess a new knowledge for myself, for me as Marta. So then I can say that Aflatun methodology is completely simple for me and very open. So I think we can put everything on this methodology, and I can think we can be very open with our children with this type of methodology, and we can start every topic with it. But definitely, probably they will ask us about this type of area. So, first of all, I need to find myself in this area. I have few, probably 5 ebooks now in this thematic. During these few days, I've bought some. So this is just the beginning for me, a huge beginning probably. And what else? Thank you for your active participation. group wasn't so big, but I think there was a chance to connect with everyone. So thank you very much for every thought that you shared during this training. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to meet you all, and maybe someday we will meet somewhere, not online, but somewhere. And okay, so thank you very much, and yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Marta. Maybe the next time we see you, you're an expert on blockchain as well.
Maybe. But thank you for the speed of the training. It was like for you, Maria, Saida, and Mutanbey, the speed was like very good for us because the topic was difficult, but it was like intensive but good for our minds too.
Thank
So
you,
thank
Marta.
you.
Thank you very much for sharing. Okay. Anyone else before we leave? Mutame, yes, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to Aflaton for setting this up, and thank you for everyone for participating. I really enjoyed interacting with you all, and hope to stay connected. And yeah, the world is changing all the time, and excited to share some knowledge and also learn from you because no one is a real expert. Everybody is always learning. So thank you.
Thank you, Mutame. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
I want to say thank you also to every one of you. I really enjoyed it. I really learned many new things. And I just wrote an email to my colleagues so I can just wait to give this training to them. So if I can. So I found it very worthy and interesting and well organized and very interactive. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ervis. Thank you very much for sharing. So, Saida, before we jump in with you, just please, I can see that we have a few responses right now in the forums. Remember, it's completely anonymous, but just as a reminder for you to take a few minutes and answer the questions before you leave. So, Saida, let's go with you,
Yeah,
and then we
I'll be
can.
super quick.
Mm.
Thanks a lot to all of you. As Marta said, just to add on to what she said, we were a small group, but we were super active, very engaging, very informative. So I really enjoy these types of trainings, though I was not the active one myself because I'm doing all the other things on the other end. Several things. One, I already sent certificates to those who were actively participating, who were present, as it is the rule and guideline we follow in Aflatun. So I would kindly ask you all to check your names if it's stated properly, correctly, and if anything needs to be added or changed, do let me know. I'll get on it right away. That's one. Two, coming back to you, Marat, and your question if we have the curriculum in Russian, we do, because I remember helping them with the translation and stuff. So we have that ready, but I think I will send it together with all the other materials we're going to be sharing, including the PPT, the manual you already have, but I will also include it. The Russian one being also part of it. I think if it's easier, if it's okay to leave it the way it is, I'll send it via email. If not, we have this partner platform for the network of Aflatun, where we put all the trainings, all the curriculum is there. So I can also create a page or a course there where I will add you. So if you lose, I don't know, if you leave the job or if you want to access to this curricula, you can do it through the partner platform, I would say. So I'll follow these two. I'll definitely expect an email coming from my end early next week, or maybe I'll wait until the videos are, kind of replenished and put it in a nice way so I can send it to you together with everything else. So sometimes, hopefully next week, if not a bit later, I'll send it your way. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, that's it from my side. So thanks again for all your active participation. I do hope you get to use it, be it for personal reasons or professional. And as Maria said, we're here to support as well. So if you decide to implement it within your groups, within your classrooms, you can do so. And if you do not feel like you have the sufficient capacity to do it, and if you still need support from Aflatun side, do come back to us. We'll be happy to provide technical support on that as well. Okay. Any last minute questions? Anything else that we did not cover that we should today, or when I'm sending the additional information via email? No questions? All good?
Everything good. I already checked the certificate. It's all good. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
also checked the certificates of our group. Thank you very much. Names and surnames are correct. Thank you for sharing information, especially Russian. Thank you
It
for
will come to
additional
you. It will.
materials. Thank you for invitation, and I can say from my group that we really enjoyed. In Armenia, all offices are gone, but we are still here. So yes, because the time differences, but we enjoy. And I mentioned in the questionnaire that I like very much the invitation of expert, the online games very much, because usually I'm thinking which type of energizer can be during online session, but especially the last one today Maria suggested and organized. It was really good. And as usual, I'm in love with my Aflatun, because every difficult and very challenging topic, yes, provided with fun and interesting methodology. Thank you very much, Saida, for being together with SOS Children's Villages, Armenia. Thank you.
We're
So
about to get on more accomplishments hopefully soon, because SOS they joined recently, so there's more to come our way. So keep an eye on more trainings that's going to happen at the regional level, and do make sure to attend it, because this was on a supplement. We have a training coming up this year on AFLA Youth, so the revised version of AFLA Youth. Sometimes in November it'll happen, so I'm extending the invitations to all of you already, though I will send an official email via official invitation via email to all of you as well.
Great, with pleasure. And thanks to Marat's suggestion, most of us now friends and in connection in LinkedIn. So I'm sure that it's a good step for the future collaboration, cooperation.
exactly.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time and for your participation. Thank you, Mutembe, for explaining this technical concepts in a very clear way, and for Saida for all of her support during these 3 days. So thank you all, and have a beautiful and great weekend. And feel free to reach out if you have any additional comment or inquiry. Have a great weekend, everyone, and thank you for joining.
Have a good
Thank you.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye bye.